Good afternoon and welcome to the National Urban League's Job Network's Digital Career Success Series. My name is Jody Brockington and I am today's host for this fabulous series on money moves. Is it all about the money all the time? Can we make career moves that make sense? Not just dollars, sense as in the idea of it. Are you following your dreams? Are you getting the jobs that you want, the career path that you've sought out for, or are you just landing places? Today, our guest, Jennifer Littlejohn, will share her experience and information on how one can transfer their skills to find their dream jobs, and she'll share how she made some money moves, and sometimes moves that you make can be in multiple directions and not always just for yourself. If you have a family, maybe you're stationary, maybe you just don't want to move from where you are, or you love where you work and you're finding it difficult to move up. I invited Jennifer Littlejohn today to join us because she's made these money moves. She keeps making money moves and has had some challenges of her own, but continues to succeed. I had the pleasure of meeting Jennifer just recently, truly made her an FOJ, a friend of Jody. We met at the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit in Orlando, and I really stopped her because I loved her Nike swoosh pin on her lapel. It stood out, and it's a brand that I love. Had no idea that she really worked there or what she was doing, but we kind of hit it off, heard a little bit about her life, and then realized that her brother is also a good friend of mine and a friend of the National Urban League, Mark Littlejohn, who works for Walmart and has supported a lot of our career services and career fair initiatives nationally as we travel around the country. So I said, you know, there's something about her career that she could offer and share with you guys today. And when this topic came up, not only does she work corporately, but has her own business. Like some of you on the line, everyone's trying to do their own thing, has a side hustle, maybe wants to turn it into their 9-to-5 or their life's work, or just keep it on the side. But Jennifer today will share with us a little bit more about her career path, so I don't want to speak about that. I want her to share her experience and how she's made the money moves she's made, and how you can now maybe take some of the tips she has and make yours. So Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today on behalf of the National Urban League and the Urban League Jobs Network. I want to welcome you to our audience and looking forward to what makes, your money, what has made your money moves, and some, hear about how you still have some more to go, what's left on your journey. So Jennifer.
Thanks, Jody. Good afternoon or good morning to some of you. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. And as Jody mentioned, I am an official FOJ, friend of Jody, and I truly appreciate the invitation to join you all today. So let's see here. We're going to go right into the presentation. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about my background and the fundamentals or the foundation that I've laid for myself, the things that I believe in. I'm going to talk to you about how to evolve as a professional. Well, here it goes. Let's see here. 1 second. All right. So I'm going to talk to you about how I've evolved as a professional. And then I'm going to talk to you about innovation, how to continue to sharpen yourself and to utilize your resources. And so I'll just start here with my background. I have about 18 years of experience in communications. Communications is my passion. I believe I was born to do communications. I was always the kid who wanted to speak up for others who couldn't speak up for themselves. And so that's also part of the advocacy work I've done over the years. I was an NAACP baby, so I don't know how many of you were affiliated with the NAACP or Urban League as youth, but I was raised as a youth leader, and so really developed my communications and advocacy work. And then I worked in development. And development is really the understanding of people and relationships and networks and how to collaborate to get things done. And so that's been the essence of my background. Many of you have seen that, or will see shortly on the next slide, a little bit more. I'm going to delve deeper. But at any rate, let me go ahead and jump to that slide so you all can just see. So just more about me. Currently, I work as the communications manager for Nike's North America supply chain. In this role, I am responsible for communications for Memphis, which has 5,000 employees, 5 facilities. And I am very excited and happy to work in this capacity for the company that I just grew up loving, wearing the brand, rocking the brand ever since I was in middle school. And so I am so excited to work for them in this capacity. Previously, I worked for Turner Construction as their Director of Community and Citizenship. And so I worked with minority businesses and helping them to understand contracting and to understand how to win contracts with Turner Construction. Also helped to develop a program called the Minority Workforce Equity Program, which trained and taught low-skilled and unskilled laborers how to sharpen their skills to acquire some of the opportunities we had. Again, I'm a single parent. I have a son who is a junior at Morehouse College, and he's the love of my life, as you see the pictures here. I enjoy writing, reading, traveling, and public speaking. And some of my favorite shows, Power, Insecure, like most of you, or some of you. And some of my favorite hashtags, Black Girl Magic, and Working While Woke, which I didn't put it right here. As Jody mentioned, I've been a business owner as well. I started my business in 2005. As soon as I finished school and moved back home, I was looking for opportunities and couldn't find them. And so I set out to start my own. And I started a business, and at first it was into like public relations, event planning. And then it morphed into something more. The more opportunities I got, the more opportunities I had to interface with leaders in my community. I began to get more into public relations, writing, and really kind of honing my skills. And so I started Olivia Massey Public Relations, and I still have it today. And I'm very excited to do some of the work that I've been able to do and work with some of the brands. My first contract was with General Mills, and I worked to expand their products such as Bisquick and Yoplait yogurt and Honey Nut Cheerios into the Black community. And so that was my first big contract. Had never had a major contract before, but through the relationships I built, was able to sync this General Mills contract. And I would ride around. I had a Jetta, an old Jetta full of products, so Honey Nut Cheerios and a hamburger helper, and attending all of these different events. But that contract was $30,000. I did that while also having a full-time communications role with International Paper. And so again, we're going to get more into that, but I just want to give you a little bit of my background. And so let me go back here. All right, so now that you know a little bit more about me, let's go into my path of success. My path wasn't linear. I zigzagged. And so, and what does that mean? Well, when I was working for International Paper, I went through a layoff, and that rocked my world. I was young. I didn't know how to navigate a layoff, didn't really understand it. You know, people were crying for those who were getting laid off. And so I had to adjust quickly and figure out if I'm going to sink or swim. And so from that point on, my mentor within the company, Cheryl Kern, who now is the Director of Diversity and Inclusion with Lockheed Martin, Cheryl told me, Jen, sometimes you have to hone your skills and manage out. You have to, if you can't find opportunities inside of a company, you have to identify opportunities outside of the company, and you never stop growing, even though your time may be up at one place. Never ever stop growing and sharpening your saw. And that inspired me to my next role was as a marketing manager, business development manager for an architectural firm. And I said I would never allow a company to pick me. I would always choose that company. And so I was empowered to say, here I am, I have skills, I have education, I have talent, I have purpose and passion. And so how do I take that and continue to keep pushing forward in spite of whatever may happen with the markets, because that's uncontrollable. All I can do is control myself. And so it moves to the fundamentals, like at the very core of who you are, that foundation, you have to have a strong faith. And faith meaning that you never quit on your dreams, your goals, your pursuit of your main purpose in life. You have to have a strong foundation. If you have that purpose and passion, unlock it and allow it to direct you and guide you, and trust and believe that whatever comes your way, especially if it's positive, that's exactly where you're supposed to be, and that whomever you call on will expand your capacity to grow, to learn, and to be equipped for whatever challenge you have ahead of you. And that's how I maneuver. And that's how I've maneuvered all of my life. And so I've always trusted my skills, my talents, and that I was always at the right place at the right time. All right. Evolve. In doing so, you have to be flexible. You have to be nimble. You have to be open to learning more and putting more into your toolkit, your personal toolkit. Competencies were something that I didn't know about. Until I started my first job, I didn't know that I was being measured on different competencies. The company that I worked for, International Paper, had 67 competencies. And most people only know a few, 5, 6, maybe 10. But there were 67 competencies that you needed in order to maneuver or navigate the corporate ladder. And you have to express or either have a desire to have or to know those competencies in order to get recognized by one of three people: a mentor, a champion, or a sponsor. And so as you navigate your career, you need to identify those three types of people, whether you are an entrepreneur or whether you are an employee. You need to identify a mentor, a sponsor, or a champion. And basically what they are looking for, just a little insight, is whether you are at potential, you have potential, or you have full potential. And full potential means that they are looking for you to lead in the company. At potential means that you have reached your plateau. There's nowhere else for you to go. Have potential, you may get opportunities, but full potential is where you want to be. So just want to encourage you around competencies, and I have some documents that we'll share later that lists these competencies that you should practice on your own. Skills. You have to be able to learn new skills. Whatever you've learned, the talents that you have to be open to learning additional skills, acquiring new skills, signing up for at lynda.com and taking webinars and workshops on something that you may not know, even just increasing your learning capacity. Again, capacity, having the capacity to be able to build the skills that you need in order for you to take on the amount of money that you want in order to make those moves. You have to be good at what you do, and you have to have the capacity. And again, if you're good at what you do, your capacity will expand to accommodate you. And I hope that makes sense. And if you have a question about it, of course, we can go into it more. But I believe that the more skills that you have, that's how you expand your capacity to either have more visibility within a company, or to make money within a company, or to make money as an entrepreneur. All right, again, professional mentors. You have to have people in your life who can help you balance yourself. A lot of us, every competency has an extreme. There is a skilled and unskilled level of each competency that you'll see in the handouts. Professional mentors help you stay balanced. Those check-ins. I have a mentor, someone that I identified when I moved back to my city and I was looking for a mentor, I couldn't find one. I wanted a Black woman to mentor me, and I couldn't find one. And so I identified a Black male who was an EVP within a company. I reached out to him and I said, I need a mentor. Will you mentor me? And he said yes. And from there, I set up quarterly meetings with him to check in. And what that did for me was to allow me to see my career, my professional career, even myself personally, at many different angles. And it allowed me to strengthen the areas where I was weak, to add additional skills or competencies, or to work on competencies. And like I said, you can work on them on your own. And then it allowed me to expand my network. Through my professional mentor, I was able to meet potential clients and to meet people who were connected with my roles, my future roles. So those are the opportunities that will come to you when you open yourself up to evolve. All right, then innovate. You've got to be able to be innovative, use the resources available to you in an optimal way. You've got to be able to communicate openly and effectively about your ideas and inspire colleagues and partners. So whether you're an entrepreneur or you are on someone's payroll, you've got to be able to be innovative. You've got to read and be flexible, and you've got to mentor others, and you've got to expand your vision, the things that you are used to. Get out, travel, see the world. If you can't see the world, travel to another city, try new things, hone yourself, learn a new skill on a digital platform, but teach yourself something and learn how to articulate the things that you have learned. I'll move on to competencies. Here are just a few competencies and transferable skills. Like I said, I've worked and I've had many opportunities across various industries, from manufacturing to sports retail, construction, architecture, and then just being a consultant. And I've had the opportunity to work with so many different companies like Siemens or Nationwide, you name it, governments. I've worked with so many different people. And the one thing that has been solid or consistent were my skills and competencies. If you have these skills and competencies, you can work across any industry. And if you continue to hone those skills and competencies, you will be able to, you will get the visibility that you want, you will get the context that you need, and it will pay forward, in your capacity to grow and to earn will continue to expand. So here are a few competencies that I pulled from the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And so, but again, I also have an attachment, a worksheet that you'll see at the end of the session. So critical thinking and problem solving. And you can read these for yourself, but these are skills that are transferable and that employers and clients are looking for you to have. Oral and written communications. If you know how to write, if you know how to express yourself, excuse me, excuse me. If you know how to express yourself clearly, and if you can speak with courage and candor and clarity, you will attract all different types of people to you, but you'll have the awareness to know, or to identify opportunities, whether it's within your role, on an employer's payroll, or it's as an entrepreneur. You'll be able to communicate with anyone. Teamwork and collaboration. You have to have effective relationships to get things done. I know for me, I'm a communicator. In order to do my work, I have to have strong relationships. Can't do anything alone unless I have these strong relationships. And not only do I have to have strong, they have to be diverse and inclusive. And so you have to be willing to come out of your box and work across gender, sexuality, disability, ethnicity. You have to be able to work across all different types of lines in order to accomplish your goals. Digital technology. You have to be savvy. This day and age, you cannot have a business or navigate corporate unless you can demonstrate that you are technologically savvy. Leadership. Of course, leadership is huge. Just really having those interpersonal skills and making sure that you know how to manage in spite of anything that you may feel, that you're able to motivate, that you can organize, prioritize, and delegate. Delegation is a strong skill under leadership. That's how people determine whether or not you're going to be an individual contributor or if you're going to manage teams. All right, global intercultural fluency. You've got to be able to, again, work across lines, value and respect people from all different races, cultures, ages, genders, sexual orientations, and religion. Without a doubt, if you're going to navigate, if you're going to get new clients, if you're going to navigate your corporate environment, you have to be able to be understanding, empathetic, and engaging, and that will, again, take you further than being closed-minded, not being flexible, or not being willing to come out of your box or get out of your own way, because some of us get in our way. Let's see here. All right, so we're going to take a quick poll. How many of you have a professional mentor? And like I said, if you, while you're taking that poll, one of the things that I want to encourage you is, whether you are an entrepreneur or not, is to make sure that you identify someone who you can spend time with on a quarterly basis, to check in, to ask, how am I doing? What opportunities are out there? What skills should I have in my toolkit? Volunteer opportunities or board opportunities that I can serve on. So again, we have, so 40% of you say that you have one, 57% say that you do not, and then 2% say that you're not sure what a professional mentor is. A professional mentor is a person who's going to advocate for you, especially if you are in corporate or even outside. A professional mentor is going to be the person who says, I've used Jennifer before, I've used her company before, it's a good company, you should use her too. They're going to be your number one advocate for how you navigate your career and how you navigate as an entrepreneur. And so again, and if you don't have a mentor, one of the things I suggest, and if you're trying to find one, in the meantime, why don't you be what you're trying what you're seeking? And that was shared with me when I was looking for a mentor. Jennifer, why don't you be what you're seeking? And so I began to mentor young men and women, especially in the area of communications and public relations. All right, the next poll. How many of you work a 9-to-5 and have a side business? And while you're filling that out, I'll just say quickly here, having multiple streams of revenue is, especially when you have obligations, is something that you're very capable of doing. It takes an incredible amount of focus, and it takes an incredible amount of dedication. So the poll results are here. Yes, I work a 9-to-5 and have a side business. That's 25% of you. I work a 9-to-5 without a side business, 55% of you. And I have my own business and do not work a 9-to-5, it's 20%. So if you're looking to expand or increase your capacity in some kind of way, if you're looking to expand your earnings, what I would say to you is identify what you do well, research, nothing is new under the sun, but if you see something that you want to do and that you can build on and, add innovation to it, I encourage you to go down that path and start a business and identify an area or a gap in a service and pursue, go through the steps of starting a business. I started a business because I had one son. I wanted to make sure that he had access to the best schools. And the best school in my community, most of the schools, we do have great public schools, and I love them. I'm a graduate of a public school. But for my son, I chose the private school option. And so through my power of choice and choosing, I chose to send him there and was able to afford it with my extra income. However, I'm still paying tuition, Jody, so at Morehouse, and it's still an endeavor that I love. Again, make sure, if whatever you want to do, focus, clear vision, goal for yourself, and then building those solid relationships so that you'll be able to get the business without any. The ultimate goal is to get business without really working hard to get it. You want to be able to have referrals, especially when you have a job. You want to be able to focus on your job, and then on your side, have referrals. You don't want to do a lot of heavy lifting, but if you have to, you got to figure out if you want to make the transition to full-time entrepreneur. If you are going to maintain a job and have a side business, you have to have some sense of control about it. So that means maybe I don't have 10 clients, but I have 3 clients. And these 3 clients pay me exactly what I need in order to, pay for tuition, in order to have family vacation, or in order to purchase a home, or whatever you aspire to do with your extra income. But you have to be specific. You have to have focus and dedication around that. All right, so as we wrap up here, I'll talk about tips and resources, things that have helped me focus along the way, being an entrepreneur and being an employee of the largest sports retail company in the world, and one of the best brands in the world, most recognizable brands in the world. So be present. You want to be present of mind. Being present gives you power. There's power in the now. It also gives you an awareness. And it has you operating from a different stratosphere, if you will. It also gives you the kind of Michael Jordan philosophy of flying above the rim. When you're present, you focus on those things that are important, and you don't get mired or stuck in the mud on issues that don't really matter. Practice focus. Set your aims on a goal and pursue that. Don't allow yourself to fall down, but have clarity, have focus around what you want to accomplish. Be flexible. Being flexible was something that I had to learn. I put it there for a reason, because it was hard for me to be flexible. I'm naturally very conservative and rigid, and I guess being a young mother, I was very focused on image. I didn't want to be have any type of, be associated with any stereotypes associated with being a single mom, or I didn't want to have my son be a stereotype as well. And so I was really rigid and focused around not trying to fall into those categories. And in doing so, I went too far right, and I wasn't flexible enough. And I had to learn how to ease up and to allow myself grace. And you'll see, I don't know if I listed that, but you have to allow yourself to be molded, and in order to grow and to extend yourself grace, even because we're not perfect. And so that's something that I really encourage you to do. Read. A lot of people I know do not read. And so if you want to learn anything, you could buy a book, pick up a book, go to the library, get a library card, check out a book for free, but make sure that you are reading, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. But I truly believe that adds character, and gets you, it increases or expands your imagination on the possibilities. And so you don't want to lose sight of being able to be creative and to be imaginative, right? Travel. If you can, go. We have here in my community, we have the megabus. I've never ridden the megabus, but I hear that that's a great way to park your car, or leave your car at home, hop an Uber, and just take the bus wherever you want to go, but see something different. Visit an art gallery, learn how to look at life differently or through a different lens. Look at artwork, from just open your eyes to colors and creativity and being abstract and just different things that you may not have been able to do or to see just because of your day-to-day routine. But that helps you open up and see things from a different perspective or angle. Mentor youth. Mentoring is very important. It was important in my life as a child, as a teenager. I had strong mentors from the NAACP who molded me into the leader I am today. Fortunately, I was able to see some of them yesterday during the MLK 50 celebrations in Memphis. And so it's really, really, really important for you to mentor young people. You will change a life indeed. Young people are looking for guidance and direction. And so no matter your age, if you have the time, or if you don't have the time, carve out time to mentor a young person. Again, identify a professional mentor. We've talked about that. Meditate, fast. I believe it's very important for you to center yourself. Life can pull us in all different kinds of ways. It can pull us too far left or too far right. And so what you want to do is just take that time to, balance yourself. Come back to the center, breathe, and fast. But fast with a purpose. Don't just fast to lose weight, but fast with a purpose. If you are looking for opportunities, if you are trying to expand your network, if you're trying to increase your business or be creative, allow yourself to fast and meditate on those things. Again, try new cuisine, try new things, join an organization. I didn't talk about this earlier, but the Rotary logo was on my background page. And so when I moved back home, I didn't want to come back home, but I was open, and an opportunity presented itself with the Rotary Group Study Exchange. And listen clearly, people, go to Rotary.org and look up this program, Group Study Exchange. It's for professionals ages 25 to 40, and it's an introductory program into Rotary. And basically, it's a vocational and cultural exchange. I was sent to Norway in 2011 for 30 days. But I'll tell you, at the end of 2010, going into 2011, I said, you know what, I want to go overseas. I was out of work. I just moved back from DC, back home. And I said, I've got to go out of town. That was one of my goals. I've got to go overseas. And saw this opportunity in the newspaper, applied to go, and they selected me. I went to Norway, 30 days, all expenses paid trip, and met some of the most fabulous Rotarians in 5 different towns in Norway. I now have friends for life, and who are Rotarians. When I came back home, I joined a club, a Rotary club. They meet every week, and they are passionate about what they do. They are professionals who, just like the Rotary wheel, they come together to make things happen. So they make things happen locally and globally. So I encourage you to do that. Again, share your experiences, successes, and failures. Last year, I had the opportunity to speak to my high school as their baccalaureate speaker. And speaking to those young people changed my life. They said I changed theirs. They changed my life. The stories I heard, but just the exchange. And from there, I got even more speaking opportunities to speak to churches and to women's groups and youth groups. Invest in yourself, hone your skills. Again, lynda.com is a great place to review or to log on and access webinars on all different types of subjects. Volunteer in your community. Exercise, can't stress that enough. It's so important for you to move your body and to get that oxygen going. And it's just such an important thing for you to do, whether it's 30 minutes a day or, if you're doing it by the week, 3 or 4 times a week, but definitely move yourself. Watch what you put in your mind and your body. I love hip hop. I love some of the most ratchet music you've ever heard before. However, I have to be on guard for plugging all of that into myself, into my mind. Laugh. Don't take yourself so seriously. Again, I tell you how conservative I am. And sometimes it's hard for me to let my hair down or to relax. And so sometimes I'll have to sit down and put on Netflix and watch, Cat Williams or something just so I can laugh. extend yourself grace. Again, I talked about that earlier. You're not perfect. And so if God can forgive you, you can forgive yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself when you've made a poor decision, or when you've provided ill advice, or allowed somebody to project their fears onto you. And allow yourself grace and move on each day. I don't want to get too spiritual here, but I've told you that's a part of my foundation. Grace and mercies are new every morning. So extend yourself grace and move on. Sit still, cry, teach yourself something new, own the moment, and reward yourself. Treat yourself, whether it's just ice cream or whether you're going to the movie theater and sitting by yourself and enjoying a large popcorn with a large Coke or Sprite. But whatever you do, treat yourself, take care of yourself. And again, how you treat you, others will do the same. And so whether you are in a corporation, navigating, you're taking care of yourself, you are skilled, you're talented, you're bright, you'll attract that to you. People will recognize your potential and push you up that corporate ladder. Whether you are an entrepreneur, you attract how you are to yourself. That's the type of energy you attract to you, the energy that allows you to expand your skill sets, expand your offerings, and increase your earning potential. So I hope that this information was helpful to you. This is how you can reach me. If you have any questions, if you want to go deeper, I am available via email. You can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram.
Wow, Jen, so much information. I was writing and typing and answering questions and getting everyone prepped for this Q&A. Now I understand why you are the powerhouse. So excited and glad that you decided that you would be an FOJ. I might have to be an FOJ the other way, friend of Jen. So there's so many questions, but everyone was really concerned. A lot of questions came in about the competencies. So,
yeah.
There are 8,000 billion out there. There's all these tests, your Breyer's, all of the DISC, what 4 quadrants, what's your strength, what's your weakness? Are you a connector? Are you the networker? What's your role? And so you kind of brought competencies up with mentoring and sponsoring. But, how do people figure out what some of their competencies are without someone else? Like, you said you knew your strength was communications, right? So you got that bucket. How do other people, without you and without having a whole list of things and not even knowing what a competency is, how do you figure out, your 4 top 5 strengths, that end up being competencies? We just give this nice word, but how would you how should someone figure out their strengths? Especially if they don't have a boss or a mentor or someone who's going to help them guide themselves.
Fair enough. Good question. At some point, we all have to be responsible for our own, development. And so I never looked for anyone to develop me internally with any of the companies that I worked for, but it was something that I set, that I was going to take ownership of on my own. One of the things, a good way to figure out what competencies to kind of identify is if you are working for a company and you have, if you are surrounded or if you have access to leadership, so managers, senior leaders, VPs, executives, look at them and just look at them and see what is it about them that what skill or trait or what are they really good at? And once you just write it down, just watch people, go to the next meeting and watch the types of skills that people have. And whether you say, okay, well, here are a couple on this list: career ambition, whether there's approachability, dealing with ambiguity, action oriented. Once you look at your leadership and you see what kind of skills they may have, write it down, and then take the document that I shared with you, the Career Architect Competencies, and look at those skills and say, Okay, well, unskilled, skilled, overused, that's what you'll see. You want to be in the area of skilled. And so we'll take one, for example, being dealing with ambiguity. You can skilled is you can effectively cope with change. You can shift gears comfortably. You can decide and act without having the total picture. You aren't upset when things are up in the air, and you don't have to finish things before moving on. That's the skilled approach. Overused is you may move to conclusions without enough data. You may fill in gaps by adding things that aren't there. You may frustrate others by not getting specific enough. If unskilled, it means that you're not comfortable with change or uncertainty, or you may not do well on fuzzy problems with no clear solution or outcome, or you may prefer more data than others and structure over uncertainty. So the point is to be in the skilled, in the middle of each competency. I would recommend taking a look at the list. There are 67 of the competencies that I shared with you. Take a look at it. Pick five. Pick 3 to 5 that you want to work on per quarter for yourself. Also take note of the leadership and just make sure that you're looking for things to say, well, if I'm in this senior management role, I have to know how to, manage through change. A lot of change is happening, especially in my industry and supply chain. A lot of change happens. I have to know how to navigate change without getting bent out of shape. So I'm going to look at that list and say, composure, conflict management, confronting direct reports, so I'm going to, or customer focus, but pick out 3 to 5 competencies that you can develop on your own, and then identify the ones in that you see in senior management or see in the leader where you want to be.
Gotcha. That's great advice. I hope that answers quite a few of you. I had a lot of questions. I try to condense it into one. So
Sure.
A few more might come back in this competency space. But the next question was really about the mentors. And I always ask people who always recommend them, and I do recommend them as well, when you're selecting a mentor, and sometimes you get selected, right, because you stand out yourself, and someone's like, oh, I want to help that person. So sometimes you don't have to look for a mentor, but if you're looking for them, what's your advice of who should be, in this board of directors, your board of mentors, a mix of your own people in your own industry, people who look like you, people who live near you, people who are completely different. What's a good mix to have? And if you can only have one, what would be the best one?
So I would say a mentor is someone that you have to feel. They don't have to look like you. They don't have to come from where you're from or have the same experiences or have your journey similarities. But I look for a person who was an influencer, a person who was respected in the community, a person who had made an impact on the community, whose work, who we knew, I knew him because of his work. And I said, he has something. And I see myself, I want to be known for my work. I want to serve my community in the capacity that he's serving. And so when I reached out to him and asked for a coffee meeting, he accepted. And we sat down and had a conversation. And I said, I want a mentor. I want someone. And I gave him what I wanted. And then I said, do you have the time to mentor me? 1 hour, once a quarter. And he said, yes. Not everyone's going to do that. But again, candor, courage, and clarity. When you move with intention and set your sights on the things that you want, the universe opens up for you and gives you what you request or what you ask for. And I truly believe that because that has happened for me probably 95% or 95.9% of the time. But you have to identify the right person for you. Now, not everyone's going to be the ideal mentor. And is Kelvin an ideal mentor for me? No, he's not ideal. However, I had specific things that I wanted to get from him, and I was able to gather that information in order to sharpen my saw and in order to increase my skill capacity and my earning capacity.
Mm. So this comes from I would gather, when you took that poll of who's in our audience, we have a mix of our stable employees. We have a mix of some folks that are actually unemployed in here. So I got some of those feedback. So that was not directly part of the poll. It wasn't an answer. That was the people who were not sure. And then we have some entrepreneurs here. So they are all kind of curious as to these competencies and how they feed and can be better leveraged when kind of pivoting, when you're making a conscious decision to make a change in your career, either to a different industry or for your clients, or maybe to gain a skill set that you're missing that could kind of catapult you. So how do you leverage and use some of these competencies for career moves, as we're talking about money moves today, to make some more money? How do you learn how to pivot and use these competencies you have or gain some new ones?
Okay, so I hope I can answer this in the way that you've laid out here. There are transferable skills and transferable competencies. And, you know, as you continue to work on yourself and hone your skills and talents, it becomes a natural part of who you are. And I think that when you present yourself, presentation is everything. So when you present yourself, whether it's in a meeting with in a corporation, or whether it's in a meeting with a client, potential client, or sustaining client, you have to have confidence. Merge your skills and professional development with confidence in order to deliver. And all of this is about the work, right? So if you are good at what you do, and if you are, I want to use the word, if you're polished around these competencies, and it's some, again, pick 3 to 5, work on once a quarter, and put those into practice, into work with everyday interactions, you'll begin to see the change. You'll begin to speak differently. You'll begin to apply the things that you're teaching yourself, that you're reading, that you are studying. You'll begin to be able to apply that to how you interact with employees and with potential clients or existing clients. So it's all about sharpening, reading, practicing, and just putting it into action. And I think that will give you the results that you want. Again, having people around you who can check and balance, having that mentor around you, asking how they see you, maybe asking a peer how they see you. You may find that how you see yourself may be totally different from how others see you. And so there's opportunities for you to open yourself up, continue to be open and flexible on sharpening that saw and getting better. But you just have to put it into practice, and you'll know it. Again, everyone, I believe you are created and designed with everything in order to do the work that you've been called to do. So, you have everything, have the confidence that you need to navigate. My career success is a spiritual one. I truly believe and trust my maker, and that I am uniquely and wonderfully created and designed to do the work that I have the passion that I have. And you'll know, and I'm sorry to go down this tangent, but you'll know what you're supposed to do by your passion and your purpose. It just comes to you. But that's my own spiritual belief. If that's not a practice for you, that's fair enough. But for me, that's been my kind of foundation in how I'm able to maneuver and increase my relationships and my capacity. Jody, I hope I answered that.
No, that was great. No, there's no hope. You're answering everything. You're a rock star today. I do want to make a mention, because this also came up, that these slides and this presentation will be made available again later on today for another listen in. So you can listen in, plus made available via a link that you will receive by being part of our audience today. And I wanted to point everyone's attention to the screen below the polls. There's a handouts. There's 3 handouts there that Jen was nice enough to create for you. So one is the 15 unwritten rules for career success. Another is about the competencies, the career architect competencies definitions. It sounds like all of you want those for sure. And then the competencies summary. So those three you can download yourself and keep and utilize, even if you guys, I know some people who are listening in are also HR specialists and those who work with teams. If anyone's on the line who works for themselves, this is great to work on for yourself and also with any of your vendors or contractors that you bring into your environment to understand where you might be falling short and where you might need some assistance. So these are great handouts, so those are for you as well. And then I want to head to the next question. So the other thing that you seem to have pushed past, which many folks on this line and in our audience are women, folks of color, those who might be different, maybe LGBTQT, etc., and often feel like there's opportunities for them to go after to make money moves, but they feel like some of those labels and stereotypes and who they are and how they show up might be stopping them from some of these opportunities. You know, how do you suggest people push past those? I always say that if someone's turning you down for a job, or it seems like that's the reason why you're not getting something, do you really want to be in this, in that environment or hired by that company if it feels uncomfortable? And my thing is, you know, back to your, I say, spiritual side, you know, if it's not the right fit, you know, then possibly not being there, it's a blessing in disguise to be turned down from something because something else will open up for you.
Absolutely.
But your take on that, because I'm sure, you know, getting into Nike isn't easy. Getting into Turner Construction wasn't like, ooh, we're looking for every Black female on the boat. So just what does that look like, you know, in your Wakanda moment, you know?
Well, one, so your work has to speak for itself. Make yourself focus on your work so well, so much that you are undeniable. And so that's where I start right there. If you're doing the work, the opportunities will come and people will adjust to you, to your being there. I truly believe that. And if it's not a right fit for you, then you've got to sit still, you know, have those moments where you are just meditating on it and write that pros and cons list and say, you know what, I like this aspect of the work, but these things I don't like. And but you do have HR who can help you sort through some of those questions that you may have about environments. However, do your work so well that people can't deny you, you know, anything. And I think Dr. King said it, you know, whatever you're called to do it so well. You know, street sweeper, and I don't know the exact quote, I'll have to pick it up, but or pull it up. But you have to be able to do your work so well that you are undenied. I think just being around in environments that are inclusive, that are diverse and accepting, you know, all of that, it's tough sometimes, right? I get it. I understand it. As a Black woman who has navigated corporate since I was 25 years old, I definitely have come up against some challenges. However, I've always believed that I was supposed to be in the room. And so if you are uncomfortable, you've got to get comfortable with me being there. And so that's been my approach. I've always believed that every room that I've entered, that I was supposed to be there. I'm in the room and at the table for a reason. And I will open up my mouth and I will speak and I will be heard and I will speak with courage, conviction, clarity, and candor. And so those are the things that like I said, your faith has to be strong. You have to have confidence and just know that God would, you know, places you in situations and the battle is already won. So you just come in, you just walk in, and everything will be fine. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but you have to increase your faith. You have to increase your confidence. You can't lose it. And you have to volunteer and serve. All of these things help you to approach work with grace, humility, confidence, and just empowerment. That's what I'll say. You really have to be empowered, no matter where you are as an entrepreneur or as an employee. You have to be empowered. You have to believe that you're supposed to be exactly where you are. And again, when there are opportunities that you have to manage out, pray for the awareness and for the clarity in direction. And I believe that you will be answered, and I believe opportunities come. That has happened for me, again, 99% of my life. When I have been anxious, I've had to pray that I, relax. When I wanted to move on and I've experienced challenges, opportunities presented themselves. And if they didn't present themselves, I had a business and I set out to go out and find work. And I found opportunities and kept the lights on. And you can do the same.
Yeah, no, Jen, today you were amazing. I think you helped those who are still looking for employment, between employment, trying to figure out, do they stay at their company and move up? Because sometimes, you can only move up so far unless you can create a job. I was fortunate enough never to have a job that anyone had before me, and things were created. But then those are often, in my case, the jobs that get let go first. Finding jobs that are part of a bottom line, and then really focusing on your competencies, what you're good at, and then working on the ones that you're not. Often you become even stronger in what you are competent in if you can find something that's the opposite. So if you're really good at verbal communication, maybe your nonverbal needs some work, and maybe listening more than speaking. So just find a balance. So Jen, on behalf of the National Urban League, myself, and everyone else here today in our audience, I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge, your life, and your career. And I wanted to announce that our two winners today for the most questions and active listening are Jacqueline Flores and Nikki Gant. And you guys will hear from our Clarissa Moses from the National Urban League, who's in charge of digital, who's been watching the polls and the questions coming in. Will connect you with Jen. What you guys have won is a free half-hour session with Jen, for her to go over your resume and your career goals and try to get you on the path that you've wanted and have been searching for your money moves. So Jen, we just want to thank you on behalf of both Nikki and Jacqueline, that they will follow up with you, and we'd love to hear back as to what happened. So if you guys would be willing to share, love to get a little feedback once that is done. So congratulations, and all of you sent in such amazing questions today. So I just want to say thank you for making this an amazing digital career success series, and as we call it, a DCSS. I now want to promote our April 19th will be a Facebook Live. Oh, the places you'll go. And today it sounds like a lot of you are trying to go to a lot of places, and we're hoping to give you some roadmaps and some other experts like Jen who have been able to make this happen, know how to navigate not just your social community, but also your live community. Everyone was asking, how do I get to this next job? How do I find the mentor? It's really being out there and meeting people. You wouldn't have had Jen here today had I not gone all the way to Orlando for the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit, and happened to be grabbing a beverage at the same time during a break. And so things happen for a reason. And you also have to be in it to win it. So keep making those money moves. Jen had shared her contact information. Make sure you download these handouts. They are invaluable, so you can have them for your own, your own reference, and even to help someone else who was unable to join us today. Once you get that link, you can share it with them for them to join, and make sure you join us on April 19th. Once again, Jen, thank you so much for your time. I know there's a lot going on over there in Memphis with the MLK 50th anniversary. Nike in general always has something going on, and then you have something going on as yourself. So please stay in touch. Maybe we'll see you in Columbus, Ohio with the rest of our clan at our career fair. And until then, have a great, great rest of your week. Thank you all for listening, and have a great day. Bye-bye.